September 1st, 1862. Robert E. Lee has just shattered the Union Army at Manassas. Victory is in his grasp. Annihilation is his goal. His trap for Pope's shattered army is set. Stonewall Jackson is the hammer, poised to slam the door shut on Washington itself. 4 miles from Germantown, 4 miles from sealing Pope's doom. Jackson waits. The noose tightens. Pope scrambles, desperate. He throws a single division, Stevens' men, into the path of the storm. Their orders? Hold the line. Buy time. At any cost. But then, the sky broke open. Not gunfire, but a deluge. Rain like judgment. A tempest transforming field into swamp, rendering powder useless. Muskets, silent clubs. In this chaotic twilight, amidst the mud and the fury, General Isaac Stevens grabs his colors and charges. "Highlanders! My Highlanders! Follow your general!" His cry echoes and dies with him. Minutes later, Philip Kearny, the Union's one-armed thunderbolt, rides blindly into the same lethal cornfield, searching for a flank, and finds only Confederate bullets. In just one chaotic hour, under a wrathful sky, Lee's perfect trap unraveled. 2 Union generals dead. Jackson's path blocked. A victory snatched away, not by Union valor alone, but by the forgotten fury of a storm. This is the story of Chantilly, of Lee's storm trap that failed. The forgotten catastrophe where rain, mud, and lightning changed the course of the Civil War in a single brutal afternoon. This is Chantilly. But before we begin, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel to support our community. In late August 1862, General Robert E. Lee's Army of Northern Virginia inflicted a devastating defeat upon Major General John Pope's Army of Virginia at the Second Battle of Manassas. Yet the bold Lee desired more than Pope's defeat. He aimed to annihilate Pope's army. To achieve this, Lee ordered Major General Thomas Stonewall Jackson to place his forces between Pope's withdrawing army and Washington's defenses. Jackson's urgent objective was to seize Germantown, a vital road junction required for Pope's dispirited forces' retreat. Starting August 31st, the day post-Manassas fighting, Jackson advanced his command north via Gum Springs Road, shifted east onto Little River Turnpike, and encamped overnight at Pleasant Valley. By 7 a.m. on September 1st, Jackson's troops were marching once more. All day, Confederate cavalry screening the Little River Turnpike clashed with Union horsemen, warning Pope of the menace to his right. Pope countered by directing Major General Joseph Hooker to form defenses at Germantown. Hooker's maneuver forced Jackson to stop his command just 4 miles from Germantown's crossroads, awaiting Lee's remaining army. Still unsure of Jackson's intentions, Pope dispatched Brigadier General Isaac Stevens's division. Their mission was to create a defensive barrier across the Little River Turnpike, 2 miles west of Hooker at Germantown. By 1 p.m., Stevens's division, alongside Major General Jesse Reno's division, started marching eastward on the Warrenton Turnpike. Jackson's wing kept waiting for Longstreet near Ox Hill. Around 4 p.m., scouts noted Union troops positioned just south. Jackson dispatched 2 brigades commanded by Major General A.P. Hill to probe the adjacent Union troops' strength and purpose. Shortly afterward, Jackson started positioning his wing's remainder for battle. Stevens spotted a sparse Confederate line emerging from woods north of Reed Farm. To fulfill his orders and preserve the Union retreat path, Stevens had to push Confederates from his front. He sent 2 companies of the 79th New York forward as skirmishers, directing them downhill across Big Rocky Run and the incomplete railroad bed against Confederate skirmishers. Just before 4:30 p.m., Colonel Edward Ferraro's brigade and overall commander, Major General Jesse Reno, reached the field. However, Reno, suffering from illness, allowed Stevens to direct tactical operations without majorly changing the assault plan. Instead, Reno ordered Ferraro to shield Stevens's flank by advancing into the woods east of Ox Road. The 51st New York and the 21st Massachusetts vanished into the trees, while the 51st Pennsylvania remained to guard Durrell's Pennsylvania battery arriving on the field. With the persistent drizzle escalating into a heavy rainstorm, General Stevens could delay no longer. Dismounting alongside his staff, Stevens shouted to his men, "Division, guide center, forward march." While the commander's call still echoed, Lieutenant Colonel David Morrison's brigade advanced toward the concealed Confederate positions ahead. Stevens directed his realigned lines to move on the woods, but as they marched, the thunderstorm unleashed its full intensity. The driving rain transformed the open cornfield soil into a muddy swamp and saturated the gunpowder, rendering numerous firearms inoperative. Despite deteriorating conditions and reduced visibility, Stevens kept urging his division forward. With his attack faltering, General Stevens seized the colors of the 79th New York and exhorted his men onward, yelling, "Highlanders! My Highlanders! Follow your general!" Stepping over the remnants of a snake rail fence, a lone Confederate bullet struck the general's temple, killing him instantly. Enraged by their commander's fall, the Union troops charged toward the rebels positioned within the tree line. Following Stevens' death, Union command passed to Colonel Benjamin Christ. The demoralized 29th Massachusetts and 79th New York started to effectively collapse, and compounding the crisis, the entire division was running low on ammunition. As the battle's momentum changed, Stevens' division commenced a gradual withdrawal across the fields they had struggled so fiercely to gain. Before his ill-fated assault, Stevens dispatched his aide, Lieutenant Horatio Belcher, to seek reinforcements. Encountering Major General Philip Kearny, Belcher implored Kearny and his forces to aid Stevens's shattered division. Kearny declared, "By God, I will support Stevens anywhere." Kearny, accompanied by Brigadier General David B. Birney's brigade, reached the battlefield at 5:15 p.m. While Birney's brigade deployed, Reno assured him Stevens' reorganized division would bolster his advance. With Stevens' attack now beaten back, Jackson prudently used the combat pause to realign Confederate lines within the cornfield. By reinforcing his position to better withstand fresh Union attacks, Jackson's situation was significantly enhanced. Now positioned opposite the Confederate right flank, Birney started moving his oversized brigade forward. Observing his right flank lacked support from Stevens' battered division, contrary to Reno's pledge, Birney asked that Colonel Orland Poe's brigade cover his open flank. Kearny rode away seeking additional aid for his assault. General Kearny encountered the 79th New York and commanded, "Scotsman, you must follow me." Discovering the 79th lacked ammunition, Kearny continued onward. Just then, the 21st Massachusetts appeared from the woods east of Ox Road. Kearny commanded them to bolster Birney's right flank. Ignoring the regiment's commander's objections, Kearny restated his directive. Exasperated by the 21st Massachusetts's reluctance, Kearny rode ahead to investigate their sluggish progress. Disregarding warnings of nearby Confederates, he entered the cornfield for a personal inspection of the front. Suddenly, Kearny was ambushed by Confederates led by Colonel Edward Thomas. Spinning his horse frantically to evade capture, Kearny was shot dead by the Georgians in Thomas's brigade. By dusk, the Battle of Chantilly concluded. Jackson, unsuccessful in his mission to block the Union retreat, started withdrawing from Ox Hill around 11 p.m. The final elements of his command pulled out early on September 2nd. Union forces stayed on the field until ordered to resume the Army's march toward Washington around 2:30 a.m. Both armies commenced over 2 weeks of marching and maneuvers that peaked beside Antietam Creek in Maryland on September 17th. By nightfall, the guns fell silent at Ox Hill. The mud-churned fields held only the groans of the wounded and the drumming rain. Jackson withdrew. Lee's masterstroke, his perfect storm trap, had failed. not shattered by a mighty counterattack, but dissolved in a deluge. 2 generals lay dead. Stevens rallying his Highlanders to a charge that became his requiem. Kearny, the fearless lion, swallowed by a cornfield in the storm's chaos. Their sacrifice, born of desperation, bought Pope's army a grim escape route Jackson could no longer seal. Lee's dream of ending the war in Virginia, washed away with the blood in the furrows. Just 2 weeks later, the survivors of both armies would collide again. At Antietam Creek, the bloodiest single day in American history. A battle fought because the back door to Washington slammed shut, here, in the mud of Chantilly. So, what really decided Chantilly? Union courage, Confederate hesitation, or the wrath of the sky itself? What if the sun had blazed that afternoon? Could Jackson have reached Germantown? Could Lee have crushed Pope and marched unopposed on Washington? Could the Confederacy have won its independence in a single stormless hour? History pivoted on the edge of a thunderclap. Chantilly wasn't just a battle lost or won. It was the moment the heavens intervened and the course of a nation tilted on rain-slicked ground. A catastrophe forgotten, but its echoes still rumble through time.